There is a history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the Nephilim. I am your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Join us as we begin to delve into, once again, the very strange and enigmatic elongated skulls from Paracas, Peru. But they're also found in other places. We'll get into that, but first, a word from our trusted sponsor. Are you worried about the future of the U.S. economy? With so much uncertainty in the air, it's natural to fret about the security of your retirement savings. But there's one asset that stands the test of time. Folks, that's gold. For centuries, gold has been a hedge against market volatility and economic instability. With a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments, you can harness the power of precious metals to help protect your financial future. By rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into a self-directed gold IRA, you can enjoy the potential for long-term growth and stability. Diversify your portfolio with a tangible asset that has real value. Setting up your gold IRA has never been easier. Folks, go with Noble Gold Investments' streamlined process and expert guidance. This election year, don't let election volatility and uncertainty keep you up at night. Vote for the timeless safety of gold and silver in 2024. Noble Gold Investments will give you up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar if you open a qualified account. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com right now. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Please check it out, folks. We did a number of years ago. We bought gold. I think it was $1,670. It's now up to $2,500 an ounce. So I'm really glad we did it, and I would strongly encourage you to do it. But like with all investments like this, there is a potential risk. Pray about it, think about it, but go to noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Folks, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. I just received this from a good friend of the shows and a friend of ours, Eric Wemmer. Eric, thanks so much. And this came in from Derek Olson. Coincidence or cover-up? On our recent tour of Peru, I was shocked to learn that some of the world's most iconic elongated skulls were no longer on public display, at least not while we were there. The Juan Navarro Museum in Paracas that had featured the center skull and many others like it was shut down. The infamous Chongo skull that used to be featured at the museum in Ica was no longer there. When we arrived at the Enda Walisa Museum to see the incredible Waikiki skull, my heart just dropped when I realized I was staring at a fake replica, which the museum guide finally admitted to. So it goes on from there. Judy Maureen goes, see L.A. Marzulli's website on Facebook. He researched elongated skulls, books, videos, public speaker. Maria Wheatley, who we interviewed when we were at Avery. We still haven't done anything with that interview, but we will eventually. Judy Maureen, I took him around Avebury as I do other researchers. So Maria's writing, she did. She gave us a tour of Avebury, and it was really great. And she goes from there. I have original photos of the Paracas skull collection from several years ago. It's very sad, but the truth is systematically being withheld from the public. Now, that's from Kathleen. And then that's basically it. So these are the photographs right here. So I reached out to Brian because Brian lives in Paracas. And I said, what's going on? What do you know about this? And Brian was kind enough, let me just show you the other pictures here. Brian was kind enough to respond. And this is what Brian Forrester said. Hey, LA, actually, let me read what I wrote him. Hey, Brian, hope all was well with you. Please check us out and get back to me if you can. So an hour or two later, Brian wrote back, hey, LA, nice to hear from you. Waikiki is kept at Senor Renato's house and is only brought to the museum by special permission, which of course I get. Yes, the Juan Navarro Museum is closed, but his grandson will show the skulls off by special request. We did so in June. As regards the Chongo skull, it was on display in June when we went there, and now you can take photos and videos for free. I will check again in November on our tour. All the best from Paracas. So, okay, that clears up the matter. What I do find interesting is our DNA result, because the DNAs that we did, and I just want to thank Brian, because without Brian, I would have never known about the Paracas skulls, maybe from some other source. But Brian, I saw that someone sent me a video, and I contacted Brian, and we went down there, I think in 2013 with the first team, and explored, and it was just absolutely fascinating. Since then, we have done DNA work on the Paracas skulls, and we found that the mitochondrial DNA that is taken from the female side of the equation, in other words, there's the nuclear DNA would be from the male side of the equation. The mitochondrial DNA comes from the female side. We were never able to get nuclear DNA, although in one skull we got a little bit, but not enough to sequence. So the mitochondrial DNA showed a Middle Eastern, Eastern European connection, and it did so over and over and over again. So we're not done with this yet. We've got studies that are happening even right now. I can't really say anything about them yet, but we are working. We have not let this go. I do find interesting that as far as a cover-up, yes and no. The powers that be, mainstream archaeology, don't like the idea that the Paracas people could have come from the Black Sea area or the Middle East or Eastern Europe. But this is what the DNA evidence showed. And if you want to see what we did, and this is a shameless plug, but you've got to do your homework. See why you've got to do your homework? You can go to streaming.lamarzulli.net, streaming.lamarzulli.net. For $5, you can watch the On the Trail of a Nephilim series. I think it's number 6, the DNA evidence. When you see that, there's a group of medical doctors, surgeons, chiropractors, archaeologists, anthropologists. It's multidisciplined people looking at the elongated skulls, which you see behind me, and weighing in not only on the morphology of the skull, of these skulls, but what the DNA evidence says. So, there's always naysayers out there who disparage our work. That's fine. They can think what they want to think. But please don't tell me I don't know anything about anatomy, because I do. And I haven't studied officially at a university, but I've boned up. I've talked to, that's why it's a multidiscipline team. What I don't know, we'll bring in a anthropologist. What about this? What about the foramen magnum? And let me just show you something. Since we're here, I'll weigh in on it. So, and I've talked about this numerous times. This is the foramen magnum. This is one of the elongated skulls from Peru. You can look at it this way. That's a little better. So let's point out some obvious features. The orbits that you see here are 25 to 30% larger than a normal human being. How do we know that? Our optometrist stated on the record that these were at least 25% larger than a normal human being. So these are sutures which are right here. And what we should see is a suture going from the frontal plate right here back, splitting the parietal into 2 places. That's what we should see in a normal human skull. And then it would continue back to the occipital plate. But folks, we don't see that. And there's no vestiges of it. So there's a disease called craniosynostosis, which will take the sagittal suture here and close it, but we don't see any trace of it at all. I get that. But here's the kicker, and it's the work of Rick Woodward, who was our team's anthropologist. This is the foramen magnum right here. This is the hole or the entrance where the spinal column attaches to the base of a skull. It should be here. Let me get a pointer. It should be here. It should be in the center of the skull to balance the skull. It's not there. It's not in the center. It's not here. It's pushed back to as far back as you can get. If it's any farther back, it's outside the skull. This is genetic. How do we know? Because we had a multidisciplined team of doctors and surgeons, chiropractors, archaeologists, anthropologists, all looking at the morphology, the structure of this particular skull, and stating on the record that this was something that was genetic. So all that to say this, that I believe, that the Paracas skulls are another species. Are they Nephilim? That's been our hypothesis. We believe that they are, because they show up in Paracas right around the time of the diaspora, when the 12 tribes of Israel are pushing the conquest of the Promised Land. And we know that Nephilim tribes absolutely dispersed from that area like crazy. That's why we're on the trail of a Nephilim. So it's interesting, and I just want to thank Eric Wemmer for sending that to me. And Maria Wheatley, if you're watching this, thank you so much for the incredible tour you gave us at Avery, and we will be doing something at some point with that film. We're just backlogged right now. By the way, we are looking for another video editor. So if you are a professional video editor, shoot me an email, la@lamarzulli.net, la@lamarzulli.net. I'll be speaking 3 times, once in Nashville in October, early October, and then in November, I'll be in Colorado, and December, of course, the Prophecy Watchers Conference. So go to the website, lamarzulli.net. You know, folks, it's time to start doing homework. We've got 30 films, 10 of them on the UFO phenomena, 7 of them on the Trail of the Nephilim, 11 of them the Watcher series, 2 on Fatima, and the one we're working on now is on the Shroud of Turin. And it's going to blow your mind, because it's blowing my mind, and how it equates with this ancient supernatural phenomena called the Holy Fire, which appears every year at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to hit the subscribe button. Go to lamarzulli.net. Time to do your homework. I'm saying it at the end of every show because it's time to do your homework. There's 30 films. And you need, this whole thing with the DNA and the Paracas skulls, we've done films on it. We broke the story in our Watchers series. Best of Watchers? Check it out, folks. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back again with another presentation. We'll see you here shortly. And remember, folks, there is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the Nephilim. Hey, folks, Elliot Marzulli here. I've got book number 14 coming out. It's being published by Charisma Media. It's called Rungs of Disclosure. Let me whet your appetite. What is it, 77 years ago, something happened in Roswell, New Mexico? Was it really a weather balloon, or was it something else? Folks, one of the very first chapters in that book delves into the whole Roswell event. What I think happened there was a cover-up, and it began the deliberate obfuscation that continued until 2017. And Tucker Carlson asked Commander David Fravor, in your opinion, what was this tic-tac-shaped UFO that you saw? Commander David Fravor looks right at the camera and says, whatever this was not from this earth. That's the nexus. That's the beginning of the Rungs of Disclosure book. I think it's the most important book I've ever penned. Go to lamarzulli.com, lamarzulli.com. You can pre-order the book, save $5, and that book will be autographed by yours truly. Don't forget, folks, UFOs are real, burgeoning, and not going away. In my opinion, this is the coming great deception that Jesus warns us about.